Hey guys, it's Jeff. So by now you've probably heard of HR127, introduced by Sheila Jackson Lee in the 117th Congress, and I want to talk about that coming up after this. All right, guys, I'm back. So by now you've probably seen other videos on YouTube. If you're following the gun community, you're probably aware of HR 127. It was a bill that was introduced just before the inauguration by Joe Biden. And so now I think a lot of people had an opportunity to read it. They've really dissected it. A lot of people are looking at it. They're concerned by it. And what I want to point out is, you know, we're very early on in the administration, and I think that this is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. I think we're going to see a lot of bills like this over at least the next 2 years until we have another election. And I think we should really pace ourselves on how we address these kinds of things. There's going to be a ton of these. Guys, I predict that we're probably going to see 24 or more of these kinds of attempts to intrude on the Second Amendment before we get to the next session of Congress. And so I think it's important to just remember that, you know, we're early on in the committee phases of this. This was just assigned to the Judiciary Committee. And I've got a diagram here, and you can see when a bill gets introduced, introducing the legislation, there's still a long way to go before it even gets put on the calendar. It gets to the floor for open debate. Obviously, it's going to have to withstand some congressional scrutiny from the congressional scholars and the legal teams that the House of Representatives has access to. So I think it's just really too early to be outraged by this bill. I think Sheila Jackson Lee and some of these more prominent Democrats have a history of this kind of absurd legislation. And we've seen this out of Al Green, I believe is the other one out of Houston area, that has a history of doing this. I think he was one of the first people to try to impeach the former president. I don't want to say his name because I don't want to get banned. But anyway, I think it's important to just remember this is going to be a long process, to pace ourselves, to respond where necessary, to find avenues to put our efforts in supporting legislations, the Firearm Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, your state rifle association, if you have a state rifle association. And I've done some previous videos on guns that the Bidens will allow. I think that one's really blown up, and I want to thank everybody who's watched that and liked it and commented on it. It's probably one of my most viewed videos on YouTube right now. So thank you, everybody. And all the new subscribers. You know, this is the kind of content I like to discuss. So anyway, just to keep it short, guys, long fight ahead of us. Get involved, contact your Congress people, your politicians, whether they're at the local, state, or federal level. Get involved with some of these groups. Get your message on point, get it refined, get it clarified so that when you go to submit these, you can reuse the same language. Don't use their form letters, because a lot of times these representatives will have filters that will eliminate form letters because they know that, it's just a standard, put your name in it and off it goes. Write something out that's more personal, and then you can reuse that over and over again. But you don't use the form letters like GOA produces. I think those are okay, but I don't think they have the same impact as a personal letter penned by you to these representatives. That way they know you're a human being. Always keep it respectful, always keep it polite, but try to convince them that what they're doing is not something you can support. It's not supported by the Constitution. It won't stand up to congressional scrutiny once it gets to the court system. And so just tell them that it's not worth their time and effort to do these types of political measures to show support for some of these more vocal minority groups that they're trying to appease or accommodate. So anyway, quick video, guys. Just wanted to get this out there. I know there's a lot of concern about HR 127. I don't think it's worth being concerned yet. I think there will be a time when it could be concerning, but I don't think we're there, and I think we need to plan for the long fight. Another one to keep an eye on is this new packing of the courts. The judicial system is, Joe Biden made a promise or a campaign pledge that he would evaluate court packing because he wasn't happy with the way the Supreme Court justices were nominated and confirmed during the Trump administration. So He's not happy with it, so he's already established his search committee or his exploratory committee to find out what it would take to pack the course with more favorable judges for him. So pay attention to that one. I think that's going to get a lot of traction. I think people need to be aware. And anyway, that's all I got on this one, guys. I'm going to keep it really short. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider a subscription. Subscriptions are what motivate me to continue to do this type of content for you guys. You can follow me on MeWe, Rumble, obviously here. I'm moving away from Facebook and Instagram just because I don't like big tech controlling the type of information I put out. YouTube hasn't gotten there yet, but if YouTube ever gets there, I'm also on bitshoot.com. So with that, guys, I'll see you next time, and I appreciate you watching. Take care. Bye-bye.